Okay, I need you to stay with me today because I know some of you clicked this episode because you saw the words tinfoil hat in the title and thought, this is going to be entertaining. And you're not wrong. But I also need you to know that by the time we're done today, you're going to look at the world differently. You're going to look at your pantry differently, and you're going to look at your backyard differently. And maybe, just maybe, you're going to go outside and have a little conversation with the idea of owning a chicken. This is Prepped and Petty. I'm Mama Kay, and today we're going deep. Buckle up. Let's go. Alrighty, friends. Let's start with what's actually happening out there right now, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the world has a little bit of a vibe lately, and the vibe is not chill. We've got conflicts flaring up in places that haven't seen conflicts in decades, alliances shifting literally overnight, countries making threats that have been unthinkable 5 years ago, economic instability that economists can't even fully explain with a straight face, supply chains that are supposedly quote unquote fixed, but somehow your grocery bill says otherwise. And every single time something new pops off, the internet absolutely loses its marbles. World War III is imminent. This is it. The collapse is here. Did you see what just happened? Yeah, let that land. Look, I'm not here to tell you to panic. I'm actually here to tell you the opposite. I'm here to tell you to pay atención, okay? Because here's what blows my mind every single time. That phrase, rumors of wars, that is not a Reddit creation. That is not a Twitter trend. That phrase is thousands of years old. I mean, we're talking ancient texts. Ancient texts warning about how exactly we're watching the news right now. Nations rising against nations, unrest, uncertainty, that feeling that something big is shifting and nobody's quite sure what comes next. Now, whether you believe those ancient writers were prophets receiving divine downloads, or whether you believe it's just really, really accurate observers of how humans behave when left unsupervised, the pattern is familiar. Humans have always made messes. Big, dramatic, historically significant messes. The only question that has ever mattered is, are you ready when it affects your household? Because it always does. Eventually, it always does. Okay, now here's where I'm going. I know I'm going to lose some of you. Of course, connect with the rest of you. Let's talk about biblical prophecy. I know my mom is loving this part right now. Now, I know some of you are already you've read Revelations multiple times. You've got timelines, you have spreadsheets, you've compared current headlines to scriptures on your lunch break. I see you, okay? I get it. My family's pretty religious. And some of you are absolutely making a face right now. Mama Kay, please, I'm begging you. I came here for practical preparedness advice and maybe some chicken content. Do not drag me into the book of Revelations today. I have enough going on. I hear you too. Stay with me, because here's the thing that genuinely fascinates me about this. Whether you take those ancient texts completely literally, or whether you read them as a metaphor, as pattern recognition, as historical wisdom, the things they described sound uncomfortably current. We're talking about instability between nations, economic stress, people unable to buy and sell without the right systems, food systems failing, darkness, literal and figuratively, the breakdown of the structures that people trusted, widespread uncertainty about what comes next. Now, I want you to sit with something for a second. You can believe that that's literal divine prophecy unfolding in real time, or you can believe it was just a very, very accurate observation that every civilization eventually hits the wall. Either way, the practical takeaway is identical. Grow your food, store your water, learn your skills, and don't depend entirely on systems that you do not control. The ancient prophets and the modern homesteader are basically writing the same memo. And I find it both hilarious and deeply, deeply comforting, because it means the answer has always been the same. It has never changed. Prepare your household, take care of your people, be the person who shows up when things are hard, and that's it. That's the whole damn memo. Now, days of darkness, let's go there, because this one resurfaces on the internet every couple of years and people are completely spiral into panic mode, or they roll their eyes so hard they pull something. And as always, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And as always, the middle is more useful than either extreme. So, what are people talking about? Solar flares that could take down the actual electrical grid. And before you dismiss that NSA has literally issued warnings about this, this is not conspiracy content. This is a known, documented, and studied risk. Cyber attacks on infrastructures, again, not tinfoil hat. Multiple governments had issued warnings. Critical infrastructure is being probed constantly. Coordinated blackouts, aging grid infrastructures, EMPs, take your pick. Now, do I think tomorrow we're going to wake up when there's no power? No, especially because I'm on solar. But here's what I do know for absolute certain. If the power in your city went out for just 3 days, most households would be in serious trouble. And you know I'm talking to you. Hear me out. Not because people are stupid, not because people are weak, but because we have built entire civilizations, food systems, water systems, communication systems, financial systems that depend completely on electricity. No power means no pumped water, because most municipal water systems need an electricity to function. No refrigeration. Everything in your fridge and freezer is on a clock. No gas pumps, they're electric. Your car is suddenly useless. No ATMs. No card transactions. Cash is suddenly king. And no communications beyond what you have locally. Remember, those electric cars, useless. Just watching the movies. Anywho, secret on a side note, I plan to eventually get myself a diesel old truck and make it biodiesel. I want to be very clear. 3 days is a conservative scenario. Remember Hurricane Katrina? Power was out for weeks. People died not from the storm, but from the aftermath, from the systems failing. The Texas freeze of 2021 of America froze to death in their homes because the grid went down and nobody had a backup plan. Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria, they were dealing with power outages for years, guys, years. So this is not theoretical. This is happening. This keeps happening. And the common denominator every single time, the people who prepared even a little were calm, were capable, were helping their neighbors instead of competing for them with them for resources. The people who had not prepared at all were in a nightmare. I know which one I want to be, and I know which one you want to be, otherwise you wouldn't be here. This is the part where I want to reframe prepping for you, because I know the word carries baggage. I know some of you hear prepper and you immediately picture that guy, the guy with 17 years of freeze-dried beans in his bunker who's waiting for the collapse so he can finally be right about everything. That guy is not who we are. Preparedness, real preparedness, is not about assuming the apocalypse is happening tomorrow. It's not about fear. It's not about being suspicious of everyone, and it's not about hoarding. Preparedness is about this: accepting calmly, without drama, just as a fact that systems sometimes fail. That's it. Systems sometimes fail. Your power goes out in a storm. System failure. Supply chain disruption means the grocery store shelves are half empty for a week. System failure. An earthquake, a hurricane, a flood, a pandemic. All of these are system failures of some kind. And they are not rare. They happen somewhere to someone all the freaking time, guys. So whether you believe biblical prophecy is actively unfolding right now, or geopolitical tensions are building towards something serious, solar activity poses a real threat to our grid infrastructure. Governments are deeply, impressively insisting, consistently incompetent, which is for sure. Or you're just a Murphy's Law person who knows that if something can go wrong, it absolutely will. The solution is identical. Grow food, store water, learn skills, build community with people you trust. That's the plan. The whole plan. It's not complicated. It's not expensive if you do it right, and it's not extreme. It's just wise. If it has to always be wise. Our grandmothers knew this. Their grandmothers knew this. Somehow we got convinced that depending entirely on systems we don't control was normal. It was never normal. It was just convenient. And convenience has an expiration date. You know what ancient prophecy never mentions once? Amazon Prime delivery. Not a single mention. 2-day shipping does not appear anywhere in Revelations. I'm sure my mom knows that off by heart. And that Right there is why I'm so utterly, completely, unapologetically passionate about what I'm doing on my little farmstead that I'm growing. I live on 1 acre on the coast of Mexico. I have chickens, I have ducks. I have a garden I've started. I'm working on my collection system and I'm working to grow my food. I've been here 2 months and I learn skills constantly. And every single day that I do that, every single egg I collect, every vegetable I'm growing, in every bucket of water that I'm storing, I feel calmer. Today, I just glassed my second jar of 40 eggs. Actually, it was about 38-ish with 2 duck eggs. And I feel calmer because I'm less dependent in the chaos. The world is just as chaotic. Trust me, I'm paying attention. But my chickens do not care about geopolitics. My garden doesn't care about the supply chain disruptions. My water storage does not care about grid failures. They just work quietly, reliably, every day. And here is the thing I want you to really hear. You don't need to own 1 acre in Mexico. You don't need to move to the mountains, and you don't need a homestead. You need a few weeks of food storage, some water, even just jugs set aside, 1 or 2 skills you didn't have last year, and a connection to at least a couple of people in your community you can count on. That's it. That's the point. That's the difference between panic and peace when things are hard. And if you can have a chicken, a backyard chicken, a community garden plot, a few pots on the herbs on your windowsill, do it. Because I will tell you from experience, the person with eggs when the grocery store is empty is going to be a very popular person on their street. Like very popular. So here's where I leave you today. Whether you believe we are genuinely living in the prophetic last days, and the signs are everywhere if you look, or whether you believe we are simply living in the latest, most dramatic chapter of humans being humans, one thing is undeniably, universally, completely, inarguably true. Prepared people sleep better. They sleep better because they have food. They sleep better because they have water. They sleep better because they have skills. And they sleep better because they are not entirely dependent on systems that could fail them tomorrow. And the people with backyard chickens, they're going to be very popular in the neighborhood, just saying. This is Mama Kay. Stay calm, stay sassy, and stay prepared. Hey, before you go, don't you dare close this episode without doing one thing. If today lit a fire under you, if you're thinking today, okay, I actually needed to start, I have something for you that makes it easy. So go to my website, sustainablepreppers.com, and grab the free, like FREE, free 72-hour emergency checklist. It's the exact basic every household should have. No overwhelm, no bunker required, just the essentials. Done in one simple checklist. Completely free. You literally have no excuse, so go get it. And if you want to go really deep, if you want the full system, the full framework, everything I know about getting your household genuinely prepared without losing your mind or your sense of humor, check out the Survival Vault. It's everything. Food storage, water storage, skills, community building, all of it built for normal people with normal lives who just want to be ready. The links are in the show notes, or go to sustainablepreppers.com. Go check it out. And hey, if this episode made you think, made you laugh, made you go outside and stare at your backyard and think, could I fit a chicken in there? That's a yes, by the way. Leave me a review. Share this with one friend who needs to hear it. Let's build this community together, because that's the actual part of the prep. Until next time, still stay calm, stay capable, and keep that tinfoil hat polished. I'm Mama Kay, and bye for now.